day to all of us. By the way, I am Tampos Cathyrine, and my assigned report is all about the structuralism. So, Structuralism by Ferdinand de Saury, and Ferdinand de Saury, born on November 26, 1857, and died on February 22, 1913. So, Structuralism and introduction. So, structuralism can be defined as it is about finding the fundamental basic units or elements that make up any system and discovering the rules that govern how these units can be combined. So, structuralism as a philosophical stance. So, structuralists are interested to the interrelations between units, also called surface or phenomena, and rules, the ways that units can be put together. So, in language, units are words, and the rules which are forms of grammars, which other words. In different language, the grammar rules are different, as are the words, but the structure is still the same in all languages. Words are put together within a grammatical system to make meaning. So, an example of this using literature. So, units. Example is princess, stepmother, and friends. Number 2 is rules. A princess is persecuted by a stepmother and rescued and married by a prince. So, we can say that a stepmother is an evil, princess is a victim, friends and princess have to marry. So, structuralist notions on units and rules. So, structuralists believe that the underlying structures which organize units and rules into meaningful system are generated by the human mind itself, and not by the sense of perception. As such, the mind is itself a structuring mechanism which looks through units and files them according to rules. So, structuralism says itself as a science of humankind and works to uncover all the structures that underlay all the things that humans do, think, perceive, and feel. So, structuralist analysis possessed these systems as universal. Every woman, mind, in every culture, at every point in history, has used some sorts of structuring principles to organize and understand cultural phenomena. Every woman culture has some sorts of language, which has the basic structures of all language. Words, phonemes are combined according to a grammar of rules to produce a meaning. So every woman culture similarly has some sort of social organization. All of these organizations are governed according to structuralist analysis by structures which are universal. So, another more formal definition about structuralism. So, a structure is any conceptual system that has the following 3 properties. Number 1 is wholeness, number 2 is transformation, and number 3 is self-regulation. See, wholeness, this means that the system functions as a whole, not just a collection of independent parts. So, number 2 is transformations. This means that the system is not static but capable of change. New units can enter the system, but when they do their govern the rules of the systems. So, number 3 is self-regulation. This is related to the idea of transformation. You can add elements to the system, but you can change the basic structures of the system. No matter what you add to it, the transformations of a system never lead to anything outside the system. So, sorry, ideas on linguistic, the nature of linguistic science. So, language is based on a naming process by by which things get associated with a word or name. So the linguistic sign, a keyword, is made of a union of a concept and a sound image. A more common way to define a linguistic sign is that a sign is a combination of a signifier and a signified. Saury says that the sound image is the signifier and the concept is the signified. So, the sign as union of signifier and signified has two main characters. The sign as a union of a signifier and a signified has two main characters. So, these principles dominates all ideas about the structure of language. It makes it possible to separate the signifier and signified or to change the relation between them. The second characteristics of the sign is that the signifier exists in the time and the time can be measured as linear. So, linguistic value, though is a shapeless mass which is only ordered by language, one of the questions philosophers have puzzled over the centuries is whether ideas can exist at all without language. No idea pre-exists language. Language itself gives shape to ideas and makes them expressible. So, the value of sign is to determine, however, not by what signifiers get linked to what particular signifies, but rather by the whole system of signs used within a community. Value is the product of a system or structures or lingua, not the result of individual relations or paroli. So, lingua versus paroli or parole. Lingua or lingua, a system as institution, as sets of interpersonal rules and norms is speech and writing. It is the elements include a system of grammar, spellings, syntax, and punctuations. Meaning is created in the arrangement of its elements and the consequent relationship between these arranged elements. So, parole, an actual manifestation of lingua, the concrete use of the language, the actual utterances. So, that is the difference between the two. So, syntagymes or syntagymes. It is a combination or relationship formed by position within a chain are called syntagyms. The term within a syntagym acquired value only because they stand in opposition to everything before or after them. Each term is something because it is not something else in the sequence. So, syntagmatic relations are most crucial in written and spoken language. In discourse, where the ideas of time, linearity, and syntactically meaning are important. So, associative. So, associative signs are stored in your memory. For example, not in syntagmatic links or sentence but in associative groups. Education or shon, education, relation, association. Similar association, education, teachers, textbooks, college, or expensives. Random sets of linkage or education, baseball, computer games. So, associated relations are only in your head, not in the structures of language itself. Whereas, syntagmatic relations are a product of linguistic structures. So, in conclusions, Saury's structuralism is based upon three assumptions. Number 1, the systematic nature of language, where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Number 2, the relational conception of the elements of language, where linguistic entities are defined in relationship of combinations and contrasts to one another. And number 3 is the arbitrary nature of linguistic elements, where they are defined in terms of functions and purpose they serve rather than in terms of their inherent qualities. So, that's all about the structuralism. So, that's the end of my report. Thank you for listening and God bless.
Nagkali